Hi, this is Martin Drummond. It's Tuesday, August 6, 2019, about 7:30 p.m. And it really frustrates me when I see people, they want to be the guy, you know? They want to be the journalist. They want to be the person who people listen to. But they don't seem to get it. You can't, that's like the blind leading the blind. They want to be the leaders. Now, I don't want to be the leader, and I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be like Keanu Reeves, who can't walk down the street without people bugging the shit out of him, right? I don't want to be that. So don't worry about that. I don't mind being in obscurity, but man, at least spread my ideas. You don't have to give me credit. You can take credit, okay? So right here, let's talk about this. And I'm just gonna turn this down a little bit further. Okay. First of all, I agree with these guys here that these guys are pricks. They think they're cool. They think they're going to tell everybody. They want to pretend like, little towns like Ashland, Kentucky, and all these places are just better, and they're better people, and they're going to come in and they're going to straighten everything out. No, let's ask the real question. Let's ask, why is Baltimore what is it? And first of all, let's define it, right? Okay, trash, stuff in alleys piled up, houses and buildings and stuff that are abandoned. All of this stuff. Why? Why really? I mean, if in my community, if we have some trash, we can put it out and the garbage man comes and gets it. Okay, so there's one of two things going on in Baltimore, right? And like this one black lady points out, it's not just Baltimore, it's all over the United States. So either they're hiding their trash in the alleyway, in which case maybe garbage men should be trained to go through the alleys and pick up the garbage. I don't know, but man, there's got to be a logical explanation, right? I mean, this doesn't make sense. You understand what I'm saying? People don't like to live in filth. And I'm not saying they are living in filth. Maybe in their own houses they are. But they would not choose to. Right? And this asshole, he wants to keep the migrants out, which is understandable. But at the same time, he doesn't give a fucking shit about poor people. This is all a big game for him. Look at him with a smile on his face. It's all a big game, man. So why? Why? Okay, so let's say inside the apartment buildings, inside the apartments, inside the houses, why are the insides of the houses? Why are there rats? Are you talking about people who own their own homes? Why are they incapable of dealing with the pest problem? I mean, if that were true, shouldn't the city provide services to people who obviously can't afford to, or whatever? I mean, that would be in the best interest of everybody, right? I have a hard time believing that people like living in a house with cockroaches and other, undesirable pests or whatever, or shitty carpets on the ground, or whatever. You know, saying they don't like to clean up after themselves. I've known people like that. They were white, let the dishes pile up in the sink until they were up to the fucking ceiling. One of my roommates was like that. And why? Because he wasn't really living there. It turned out he was just, you know, he wasn't paying rent. He was taking rent from me because I thought that he was paying rent. But he wasn't paying it to anybody. He just taken over this house. Beautiful house. Well, not so much a beautiful house. Anyway, that's not the point. Well, it kind of is, because what I'm saying is, let's get into the nitty-gritty, you know? Because aren't we going to find out, this is what I was kind of getting to, aren't we going to find out that this is about slum landlords? Aren't we going to find out that this is about a population that is so disaffected? You know, they just don't care anymore. Why? I want to know why. And don't tell me it's because they don't have jobs. Because whether you have a job or not doesn't... I don't see how that... You know, yeah, because you don't have money, you can't... I don't know, buy disinfectant or bug spray or something. I don't know. But it can't be a good thing. But why does... so, you know, they're saying, oh, well, our problem is we don't have jobs. It's all... It doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense to me. These assholes, like this fuckhead, that's all he is a fuckhead. Going down there. And quite honestly, it's obvious nobody wants them down there, you know? And turning around and saying to somebody, well, you don't have a job, you should be cleaning out other people's alleys, you know, maybe your own. But if you rent somewhere, you don't clean out the alley. You're renting the building. The landlord is responsible for keeping that. You know, either telling his tenants what they're allowed and not allowed to stick out there, and they'll stick in the alley, and to make sure that they don't. Right? I mean, if you have to, put up cameras and catch your tenants dumping stuff illegally in your alley. Block off the alley. You know, if it's not one that is a throughway street. I don't know, but man, none of this stuff makes any fucking sense to me. They're not really getting down to, I mean, I do understand, like I say, that this guy's a fuckhead, and I know hundreds of these guys. You know, they're not hippies, they've got long hair, they think that's some kind of fucking right-wing Nazi hillbilly kind of thing. And fuck you, man. Go back to your piece of shit little town. You know, that's what it all comes down to. How do you have time to come down and try and clean up Baltimore? Shouldn't you be working, buddy? You know, is this how you'd like to spend your weekend? Is that what it is? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get why they listen. You know, yeah, I get it. You know, Donald Trump. Boy, again, you talk about the blind following the blind. I mean, listening to Donald Trump, it's like asking somebody to hit you over the head with a mallet. Oh my God. I'm drawing a blank here, people. I mean, I am giving you the answers, I really am. And they're not pretty. You white people go mind your own fucking business and stop trying to instigate shit. I mean, look at the guy's face. He's just out to cause trouble. You don't give a shit about 3.6 million black kids. Matter of fact, if you had your ways, they'd all be gassed to death, Nazi style. That's how much you care about black kids. You honestly, you deserve all kinds of bad things to happen to you to stand there with that sign and try and do exactly what the establishment is trying to do. The America First thing. God, it is so fucking despicable. You know what? Fuck it, man. I hope it comes true. I hope this whole country gets overrun with black and brown. Yeah, I hope your worst fears, your worst nightmares. I know one thing: you and a million other assholes like you aren't gonna solve the problem. You're not gonna get rid of them. They're our people. They're American citizens. And whether you like it or not, we're more concerned about illegal immigration than you are. People like you and your friends, you love them. You love them to come pick your fruit for you. You love to see them out there doing the landscaping, all that kind of shit. You're more responsible for illegal aliens than anybody. What you want is power and money, and what you mainly want is money. Jackasses like you, that's why. And you know, in 5 years, we'll see you again. You'll have your hair all cut, and you'll be working as a stockbroker or something, right? Or doing something online. And you'll say that you had your priorities screwed up or something. Because this is just some lame-ass attempt by you and your friends to get... You're not out to help Baltimore. Are you going to come every weekend and pick up their trash? How about you get on the Baltimore government and the white establishment that sets black communities up to fail? How about you start to look into that? Dipshit motherfucker, I gotta get you off of my... I'm so sick of looking at you. Fuck, man. Now there's a pretty face. AOC and the rest of the... What are they called? The gang or something? I don't know, I can't remember. They have a new name for them. Okay. So, what do I say, man? My main point is that, okay, well, wait a minute, before we run off, let's just go ahead and...
Days for Trump, but ran Act for America, which has been this right-wing, vicious anti-Muslim group, came to Baltimore with about 300 people, I was told, not sure the exact number, but racially mixed, mostly white, to go clean up the west side of Baltimore, which is a black community where Eddie Conway and others here have Tubman House that grows food for people. And Eddie confronted them in the street about, what people need here is jobs, not you cleaning up their alleys.
Yeah, and, I'm not saying that jobs are, not an issue. What I'm saying is it's not the real issue. I mean, and you know what, when I hear black people and brown people talking about jobs, it's like they're kissing white ass. It's like they're kissing the man's ass. It's like, oh, it's your fault, you don't give us jobs. No, it's like they're saying, oh, we're all hardworking, we're not the lazy bums, da da da. It's like they're playing right into the narrative. You see what I'm saying? I mean, rich white people, that's all they really do want out of the poor parts of town, is for them to do their work for them. I don't want they don't want them to do it in their backyard or stuff because they're afraid of these people. They're afraid they'll get robbed. They're afraid they might stab them or shoot them or something or whatever. So, I mean, the whole thing, again, when, it's funny, I start out knowing what I'm talking about, but by the time I get 10 seconds into saying what I'm going to say, I'm confused again. How do we turn America into a country full of Americans? How do we do that at this point? Capitalism's got everything so fucked up that we're so divided between races and mainly by income, the class thing. And there seems to be no way out. Well, the way out is simple. And at this point, I'd say it's socialism. Look, the right wing had their chance. They've controlled the government for like the last 20 years. And we've been waiting for this great solution. Capitalism's going to solve all our problems. I've been hearing this since I was 5 years old. Capitalism is the answer. Capitalism solves all the problems, ends the poverty, and everybody is happy. No fucking way, man. That's obviously bullshit. Capitalism keeps the rich people happy. That's why they tell us that eventually it'll solve all our problems, because they don't want it to end, right? So, listen a little bit more. So, when I hear this jobs bullshit, I'm just hearing black people play into their negative, into their narrative. Open up 20 more McDonald's and put us to work. Fuck.
All right, how you doing? What's happening here?
How you doing? I'm Suzanne Monk. Nice to meet you. We are down here with our friend Scott Pressler, who arranged this huge cleanup day. We're down here cleaning up the neighborhood. We've got about 300 volunteers. About another 50 people have volunteered from just over around the neighborhood.
Did they get a permit from the city to do this? Because I know one thing, the people don't want them down there. The reason that Conway's down there is because he's hearing about all these racists who are hanging around in their neighborhood with a few black people who are quite honestly ignorant. Obviously ignorant. So obviously ignorant. I mean, for a black person to fall into bullshit about, they're obviously hoping they're going to get some kind of payment out of this, some kind of, like maybe they won't be treated like the other black people, right? So,
just cleaning up. We've had filled up several dumpsters, and we are down here just trying to make a difference. The president tweeted about Baltimore, and it motivated a lot of us, whether you like him or hate him, to come get something done. So we're just Americans helping Americans today, and that's what we're doing.
Well, it was started by President Trump tweeting about Baltimore, but, the people that are coming here today, this isn't a Trump rally. This isn't anti-Representative Cummings. This is simply the community coming together.
Looked to me like a bunch of the lower downs had Make America Great hats on, those red hats.
I mean, we even have Governor Hogan's office sent this gentleman, Kenneth.
And isn't it a Trump rally if they're all down there because of what a Trump tweeted?
Be here with us today. And the coolest part for me, Eddie, it's not only having the volunteers coming from Baltimore, Maryland, and all over the country, but I've been meeting with the local community.
Georgia, Ohio, Pennsylvania.
Yep,
they
North
came
Carolina.
all North Carolina.
But the coolest part has been listening to people like Louise, Miss Dupay, Grace, Lawrence, they live here. This is their community because we're going to go back home, some of us. We need the Baltimore community like Mr. Roussan to be able to work with the people that live here to make sure that this alley doesn't go back to what it was. The whole goal is we don't want to put a Band-Aid on the situation. We want to work on a long-term solution to this problem.
Okay, can I ask you this? Because I think, and I'm from this community myself, I do a farm right up there.
And Eddie, I know you'd like to ask him, but please learn how to say ask. In the United States, we do value that people are capable of a certain level of the language. Nothing personal, just would like you to correct that.
The problem in this community, the main problem in this community is not the garbage, although that is a problem. And cleaning it up.
The garbage on top
Yeah.
of that roof right there?
Yeah, no, it's not the main problem. The main problem is unemployment.
Okay.
The main problem is there's no employment for young people here. The main problem is that 50% of the youth in this community can't find jobs.
Yeah, I mean, we would see that issue if those, what you said, the folks that was not working, then they should have been out here cleaning their community.
And now we have a change where this young gentleman tweeted on a national level. I'm here on the...
So that goes to what I said. I mean, these are rented. These buildings are owned by somebody else or not owned at all. Maybe they've fallen into the city. That goes to that issue. Slumlords.
On a grassroots level, here in the community, as a person who ran for state senate, as the most powerful man in the land, and like you said, it's not a political thing.
Now, this guy right here hates this guy here. When he's with his friends, he calls them a nigger and every other kind of condescending thing he can say about black people in general. I'm sure that he says, maybe even to himself, there's some good black people, and that's proof that, the rest of them are bad. But the truth is, if he was ever honest with himself for 5 seconds, this is a wonderful picture here. You hate that guy, don't you? And you know what? He's a piece of shit, too. You probably should hate him, but for all the wrong reasons. You should hate him because he's teaming up with you and trying to give you a legitimacy that you will never be able to achieve, not with idiots like him by your side or whatever. You'll never get it.
I'm doing this 24/7. My wife, I don't even know if I have a wife.
Okay, look. This is such nonsense. This is Martin Drummond for Progressive News. Very confusing, but I think I've still hit upon it. Hope that you enjoyed this segment.